You are listening to the Horse Radio Network, part of the Equine Network family.
This is episode 737 of the Dressage Radio Show, official podcast of the United States Dressage Federation on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products.
Today, we're checking in on talent from coast to coast. We're going to hear about the recently concluded 2024 Robert Dover Horsemastership Clinic Week, and we're circling back with a good friend of the Dressage Radio Show to hear what's on the horizon for her this season, beginning this week at the 2024 Global Dressage Festival. And finally, we're going to get down low on what is coming down the pipeline at the recently renovated Hits Del Mar, starting up next month. Giddy up, giddy up, giddy up. Let's go.
This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky in Wellington, Florida.
And this is Noah Ratner from Sherwood, Oregon, almost in Wellington, Florida. And you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show. Hey, Reese.
Hi, Noah. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, we do have a slight tornado warning coming toward us. So I'm like, but there are terrible storms on the East Coast this week happening right now. So by the time the show airs, we hope everyone is okay. Like, it has been a kind of a real weather day for everyone. I'm seeing my family in Kentucky and all the barns in Kentucky, they're having it. So we are actually really thinking about everybody. So, but
you're not making it sound very promising. I'm getting on a plane and flying to Wellington tomorrow.
Well, I know, and I can't wait to see you. We are going to have this is the first week. I mean, things are starting to go down. I'm really excited about
Let the games begin.
Yes. It feels that way down here. You know,
yeah, right. Like, and I'm supposedly getting away from the bad weather because we've got a big snowstorm coming in, and the temperatures are dropping. I've got winter weather warnings coming, and I'm like, get me out of here.
Yeah. Well, bring a coat because it's not going to be. It was going to get chilly down here, but when it gets chilly down here, you know, it's really
not
chilly.
What I wanted to hear.
I know. So, Happy New Year! This is our first show of 2024. I'm thrilled to have a new year, and our show is. We're just excited. It's a new page in our show, and it's thrilling. And we did. How was your New Year's? Did you have a good one?
Oh my gosh. Sometimes it's nice to just be at home for a minute. And I finally had more than 48 hours in my own home. And it was just really nice to kind of sit back and get some things that I wanted to get done around the place, get that stuff done, and kind of get my brain ready to go and back in high gear for this big season we've got coming up in Wellington. And it's like Olympic qualifying all over again. It feels like we just finished that from Tokyo when we had the 1 year delay on the Tokyo Games. I'm like, oh my gosh, it wasn't enough time between these. No. But super fun to be moving forward and let the games begin for 2024.
It's so also great. I was with your dear friends, the Bills. I went to their house for New Year's. We were like texting Noah. We're like, we miss you so much. But it was super fun. We had a wonderful dinner there. And I'm not going to lie, at 11 o'clock, Bill Mack took the clock and we celebrated, and it was cute and it was great. And so I was home. We all kind of wanted to be home by midnight and with the horses and make sure my dog. So we celebrated an hour early, and it was so fun.
What time zone does that technically fall into if you celebrated it an hour early on the East Coast?
I'm not sure. It was awesome. So I was actually at midnight, I was actually in bed, and I was snuggling with my dog, and I was the happiest little camper. But I was ready for New Year.
I will confess, I was also in bed before midnight, and I think I was probably earlier than you guys. I don't know what's happening, but right at midnight, everything's going crazy and car alarms going off, and I jumped out of bed. It was crazy, but a heck of a way to ring in the new year, right?
Absolutely. And you just ran another horse show. I mean, tell us what you've been up to.
Just, over here, super casual, no big deal. I just finished running the last of the CDI World Cup qualifiers at the Desert International Horse Park in Thermal, and wrapped up a great series there for 2023 and the kind of winter 2024. And we had a great competition. It was still small, and really hope to see the West Coast riders showing up to those competitions and helping keep them alive. It's so great to have the competitions on both coasts and giving the opportunities for those West Coast riders to get the scores they need, so that they don't all have to make the migration to Florida. But it's great to have the venues that have invested so much energy and so much money into their venues to really, really make world-class venues where we can showcase the top talent that the U.S. really, truly has. So that was fun. That just finished this past weekend. And it's really fun to look forward to what's coming up in California starting next month. And we're going to get to chat with one of the guests today who is a mover and a shaker and is really bringing things to life on the West Coast at the new HITS Del Mar venue. So I'm excited to chat with Cameron Wyman. And you've got some stuff going on your side. What's going on in Wellington right now?
Yeah. Well, it is now full speed ahead. We kind of were like, had the holidays, things were a little bit chill, but yeah, now all my horses are here. And I'm very lucky. I have 7 with me, but I also coach, about 20 more.
That's ambitious.
In the area. Yeah, it is busy days. I think people think, we're hanging out on the beach, but, it's great. I'm loving it. All the horses are here. We're getting kind of the plans for 2024. And I think that's fun. As a coach, this is that time of year where everybody, I kind of stop our first lesson or maybe we get a cup of coffee or something and just chat. Like, what are we doing for the year? What's the plan?
Nice. Rumor has it that one of your New Year's resolutions had something to do with new technology.
Oh, yeah, you're right, Noah. This is very true. Okay, so yes, Noah, everybody teases us, but me, because I'm, obviously not very techie. And
technologically challenged.
I am, and I work on it a lot. And thankfully I have Paul, I have my husband Travis, very, very good and help me. I'm trying every day. This is a hard thing, but yeah, Noah, I've been doing Duolingo every night.
Oh, wow.
My German.
Wow.
I know. Stop it. I know. And today was the first day with my new iPhone watch. And so you did give me a warning, which you got to tell everybody. What was the warning?
Oh my gosh. Well, maybe just be mindful if you decide to wear any of the wearable technology into a competition arena. I know of kind of a horror story that actually happened at one of the shows at White Fences where a competitor wore their Apple Watch into the competition arena. And while they were doing some movement, I don't know if the horse was doing an extra movement that was above the level, but the Apple Watch thought that they were having a life-threatening event and was trying to call 911. And the rider was going around the arena, like yelling at their phone to try and make it stop calling 911. And I mean, like, we're laughing at it now, but I can't even imagine like the amount of focus you have when you're riding a dressage test and you're competing, and then you've got technology literally fighting you. So,
I don't even know. I would just throw it off and get but I did. It does have that fall feature, which is very cool. And my sister-in-law is very cute. She wanted to make sure I had that because I have had a couple friends that have fallen and they've had it on. So my sister-in-law was really, and I've been thinking about it, but my sister-in-law was pretty adamant about it. Go, Alana. She was like, I really think you need this watch. I think this is really good for you. So anyways,
we've come full circle when they've integrated the Life Alert and an Apple product into one device that you can wear now. And the fact that we can appreciate that at the given ages that we are. So
I'm like, this
we're
is
both
probably
winning
a good
right
idea.
now.
Yeah, we're winning. Yeah, we're winning. And I mean, I think just, kind of looking at this year and the new beginnings and all the things I just now really appreciate my iWatch. I'm learning new things, working on some things, but I don't know if you know this about me, Noah, but I have the same New Year's resolution every year because I've not achieved it. Yeah, it's to be on time. It is to be on time.
Oh my gosh. No, I can't believe that's yours. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
okay.
Is that yours?
Anyone who knows me knows, oh my gosh, that is too funny. We did not discuss this beforehand, y'all.
We did not.
No. my New Year's resolution is to be more punctual. And it's so funny because my friend Josephine, we travel around to all these shows together, and she's German. And the Germans are all, generally speaking, culturally very punctual. And I have a lot of respect for that. And me personally, culturally, I am not punctual at all. So I endeavor to be more punctual this year. So we were. Yes, we will do this together. But we were just at the horse show this last weekend, and I was down in the lobby 10 minutes before the agreed departure time, and and she came down like 5 minutes late, and I had to shame her for being a bad German. And she's like, "I've never seen this before. What is happening?" I said, "It's my New Year's resolution." It's my New Year's
resolution. I know. I'm really trying because I mean I know everyone's time is valuable, and I hate it that it's true, and I hate it that. You and I are very busy people, and we have a lot on our plates, and so. But anyways, well, that is cool. We will hold each other to it. We are as literally. I like scream in at 6 o'clock. We're supposed to record at 6, and I am like 6:01-ish. I'm on, so I'm trying. I am trying. Everybody,
you're gonna get it done.
Yeah, I'm going to get it done. Well, I love it. Well, everybody, we send us your New Year's resolutions. We always love hearing from you guys. And Noah and I can chat all day, but we're going to get this party started. We're going to have a quick commercial break from Kentucky Performance Products, and we're going to get into the show.
Frequently asked questions brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products. My older gelding is having trouble holding his weight, and I'm afraid to feed him any more senior feed. He gets all the hay he wants. What do you recommend? Many older horses are eventually unable to maintain acceptable body condition on a typical diet of hay and grain alone. When you want to add calories without the risk of digestive upset, we recommend Equijewel Rice Bran. It is an excellent source of easy-to-digest calories for older horses. The fat in Equijewel is a concentrated energy source. It will increase calorie consumption and improve body condition without risking grain overload. Start your older horse on 1/4 pound per day and work up to 1 or 2 pounds per day over a few weeks. Remember, small meals fed 3 to 4 times per day will help your older horse better utilize the feed. You can learn more about Equijewel at kppusa.com. Got questions about your feeding program? We can help. Email Karen at questions@kppusa.com or call us at 859-873-2974.
Well, tonight we are thrilled to have Elizabeth Peterson. She was a rider at the 2024 Robert Dover USEF Horsemastership Clinic Week presented by Zen Elite Equestrian Center. Elizabeth, welcome to the show.
Hi, I'm so excited to be on.
I know. Well, full disclosure, you and I had dinner, I think it was a week ago, and it was right before the clinic, and I haven't myself gotten a full report on the clinic. So, Elizabeth, we'll start the interview. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am from Colorado. I'm from a little small town, but currently I'm up in Golden going to school for electrical engineering. On the riding side, I've been riding for as long as I can remember. I've done young riders and juniors 3 years ago, and then the last 2 years I've been doing young riders. And up and coming, I'm hoping to do U25 this next year. I ride a horse named Brownie. He's a 15-year-old Westphalian gelding. And that's just a little bit about me. I'm super excited to talk tonight, and I have a lot to say.
Well, we are so glad to have you with us, Elizabeth, and exciting to hear that you're still working with Captain Brownie. So what are you guys working on right now?
Right now, we're trying to really get some of the passage and piaffe on board. I don't know. It's been kind of a fun journey. He's been really fit right now. So I've never had a horse this spicy and fit before. So just trying to figure out how to harness it myself. But we're doing a lot with the 110Ps and the piaffe and sage and trying to get that harmony between the two of us right now. So
that's super exciting. Yeah, good for you guys. And I know I saw you guys at the 2023 North American Youth Championships. You guys represented in the Young Rider division. Are you hoping to make an appearance again this year?
We will kind of see. I think that kind of also determines, again, with my school stuff, if I get internships. But the goal would hopefully be maybe the U25 at Young Riders this next year.
That is awesome because it will be the second year of the U25 being a part of the North Americans, and would be super exciting to see you guys on a team.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be really exciting.
So tell us about the weekend down in Wellington at the Horsemastership program, and what were your top takeaways from the clinic?
Oh my gosh, there are so many. I think this is one of my absolute favorite experiences going through dressage and just learning. I think I learned so many things. I think my favorite thing, probably for a lot of the kids, if you asked them, was the riding portion of it, working with the clinicians. I worked with Allie Brock, and let me tell you, that was one of the best experiences I have ever had at a clinic.
She is seriously the best.
She is.
Oh my gosh, she's amazing.
I got to ride with her this fall. She's fantastic. Yeah, she's great and super good if anybody gets to see her. So absolutely.
Yeah, no, she was fantastic. And I mean, I'll be honest, she like totally tore apart my seat and found all the tiny little areas that needed to be fixed. And I had a lot of fun with her, and she taught me a lot about my body and gave me some more info on my body awareness in terms of how I should be using my core and where I should be sitting in the saddle in terms of my seat bones, and making sure especially my right leg is under me, and really making sure that I am an effective rider for my horse to make sure my horse is comfortable with no matter what we're doing.
I was just going to stop you and just have you explain, how do you get into the Robert Dover Horsemastership Clinic? Like, tell us all the things about the clinic and how you got there.
So in terms of getting there, I applied as a wild card. So they usually pick the top 18 out of like the top 3 from the junior divisions and young rider divisions from NAYC and Festival. And then I applied as a wild card. So that process is you give them all your info. You have to write a little essay about your like future plans in the sport and everything. And then you send in a video submission. And so I actually got accepted as an alternate, and somebody dropped out last minute. So I had the luck of being in Florida at the right time and having a horse to ride, and I was able to fill in that alternate position. And so, it's just a lot of prepping.
And what horse did you ride?
I rode my mom's horse, actually. Worthy Aspirations. Her name's Ruby. So I was really lucky. She's a 13-year-old Hanoverian mare. Definitely not an easy ride. My mom makes it like super easy, but I really learned quite a bit from her because she really tells you when you're doing something wrong.
Right. So then that's tough, right? To go into a clinic like that. But a lot of the riders do ride borrowed horses. Thankfully, your borrowed horse was your mom's, who is awesome. But right, that's part of it. If you don't have a horse or can't get down here because it's during kind of still the holiday break for school, typically, a horse can be provided, right?
Yes. Yeah. There were, I think, 7 or 8 kids who had borrowed horses or had just a brand new partnership coming into that clinic.
That's awesome. And so Allie was one of the coaches, right, Elizabeth? And who else was down there this year?
We had Allie, Katie Durhammer, Olivia Lagoy-Welch, and Sarah Tubman.
That's a pretty all-star crew of clinicians for this. So this is not your first year of attending the clinic, right?
This is my first year, so it was all brand new for me.
How very cool to go there and have like the Pan Am team and some of our high performance riders down there with you. What of the other NAYC competitors that you've competed alongside? Who else was there this year in the clinic?
Let's see. I mean, there were a lot. It was kind of fun to see some familiar faces. So Lexi Comment was there, one of our big medalists in the past few years. We had Emma Claire Stevens. We had, who else was there? There were so many faces there. But there were a number of NAYC athletes there. And I mean, it was a really fun time to get to see everybody. And you bond a little bit at Young Riders and through these other opportunities for the youth riders. But I think this really gave us all a chance to sit down and talk while we were in the barns or auditing. Another fun part of the clinic is we all got put on teams of 4 riders for the barn. And so we were judged on our ability to keep the aisle clean, our teamwork, the care of the horse, and just overall how we work as a team. Because a lot of us came in sort of knowing each other, but not really knowing each other.
Right.
So it was kind of fun.
That's phenomenal. So kind of along those lines, tell us a little bit about the week, right? Because there is a lot of time to watch other people, there are events that happen. So tell us a little bit about what happens each day.
Oh yeah. So the first day, it's not much. We all move in. That was Wednesday. And then we had a nice welcome dinner. And so the welcome dinner was kind of like, here's what to expect and this and that. And then we had one of our Olympic team physios, Joanna France, kind of gave a introductory talk about what she's looking for as a team physio and what we can expect going into the clinic. Because alongside that, we got to work with her once or twice during the clinic to get an idea of where we need to strengthen up in our bodies and where we should do more stretching and things like that. So that was the first day, and kind of, again, those meetings were throughout the week. And as we moved into, I would say the first official day on the Thursday, we had, which was great. Oh, Wednesday too, Robert Dover gave a theory presentation. I can't forget about that. Fantastic presentation. A lot about your connection with the horse. So where you're finding different aids. So what are the driving aids? What are the bending aids? What's a half vault? So he gave a lot of good insights on where these ideas are coming from and how they're applied with the horse and the rider. And so following that, the next morning, he came with his own 7-year-old and actually applied what he told us in the talk to what he did on his horse, which is pretty cool to see it all being applied. And we got to see how certain mistakes would cause certain things to happen or miscommunications. So that was really interesting. And then there was the riding portion throughout the whole week. But outside of that, we had talks on athlete nutrition from Ricky Keene, who's one of our USOPC nutritionists. We had sports psychology talks from Lexi Swenson, who also is from the USOPC. We had some media strategy talks from Carly Wildminster and Taylor Pence, who also work for USEF. And then we got freestyle presentations from Marlene Whitaker and Robert Dover. And overall, I mean, I can't tell you, there was so many things, and I learned so much from this clinic. Again, farrier presentations. That kind of just gives an overall insight of everything that happens along with the riding.
That off-the-cuff synopsis was impressive.
Yes,
well done. I know I got to tune in just briefly. I was managing another show in California this weekend, but I managed to turn on the USCF network, and on Clip My Horse TV, they were streaming a lot of the content from the clinic. You've ridden on live TV and on a live stream before. What does that do as far as your focus goes?
I think it you definitely have to tune in a little bit more, because what I noticed is, oh my gosh, there's a camera at the other end of the arena, and not a small camera. It is a big camera. And so first of all, you're trying to tell your horse that it's not going to jump at them. Like, it's okay, because there's a big camera and a microphone and a person standing at the end of the arena that you're not used to. And so it definitely, you got to focus a little bit more. You got to definitely tell yourself to just tune in. I will say the nice thing about this clinic is we all had C coaches or some sort of a radio system with our coach, which I think helps a lot. So we're tuned into our ears and being told things. So we kind of have to stay focused. But I definitely think it adds a little pressure that is not intended. But I mean, anytime you're on a live anything, whether it's anything like a podcast like this or live TV or anything like that, there's always this added pressure of, oh my gosh, everybody's watching, everybody's listening. But I think
there's
it's really
no
just
pressure talking to us.
Oh, we're easy.
Well, I mean, I like you guys.
You know us. No, but it's part of it, right? I mean, I think that's one of the beautiful things about this clinic is that you're working with people that you will work with throughout your career as you become a professional athlete, and learning what that means. And that is part of it, right? Is every time you'll show, like you said, at NAYC, you're on camera, and that is part of learning the system and learning how to handle it and learning how to focus. And that is completely what they are trying to work and teach you as this clinic goes along. And it really is an amazing clinic, because anybody who's around, you can go to that clinic for free. You can go and sit all day. Some of the events are just for the athletes, but the riding part, anybody can go watch it, which is such a cool thing. And that's a little bit of added pressure too. You have people that can come in and watch and just sit there and they're hopefully there to learn and be, learn and be great. But there's added pressure too with that. So I think that's the whole thing with this clinic is every aspect of the clinic is amazing. And it's teaching all of the young people, the young athletes on what is available, opening your eyes to that. You're working with Olympic and Pan American coaches. You're working with a high performance team. So just being able to have connections with them. It truly is an amazing clinic. So just kind of for the final, what's your takeaway? What would you tell other young athletes that want to come? Like, give some insight to that.
I think what I would say, I would say, come in with an open mind because I had no idea what to expect. And I think you will gain so much from an experience like this that you can never find anywhere else. As I said earlier, I don't think I've ever had an experience like that overall, whether it's been in school or the horseback riding. Like, this has been something that has really pushed me to work, pushed me somewhere that I haven't been before, and pushed me to really open my eyes and learn so much more. And I think it shows you how much your work pays off. So always work hard and aim for your goals, because this is really showing you what you can do if you keep pushing and trying and working as hard as you can.
I mean, you are beyond eloquent, and that doesn't surprise me because you are going to a very competitive school. I know you're an avid equestrian, but Elizabeth, tell our listeners where you're going to school and what you're studying for right now.
I'm going to Colorado School of Mines, so it's kind of known in the engineering world. It's only an engineering school, so the humanities don't fully exist. But I'm studying electrical engineering with an emphasis in aerospace and communication technology. So basically, I want to work on satellites and communication systems on rocket ships and any technology we send into space.
We're seriously on a string of talking in our interviews to amazingly intelligent women that have extreme passions outside of the horse world. And I just think every time we hear from one of our guests, regardless of their age, it's so cool to hear what the passion is outside of the horse world, and the equestrian world is the common denominator that brings us together. I just it makes me smile every time I hear somebody else's passion and what they're doing with their life outside of horse world. And that's so cool. Congratulations on your academic side, and really congratulations on being invited to participate in the Horsemastership Clinic. Really, really happy, really proud of you, my friend.
Well, thank you so much. And I mean, just one last thing to bring it all together with the outside interest. I mean, talking to all the girls at the clinic too, hearing what they're doing. Some of them are wanting to study international policy or history or chemistry or things like that. So kind of to bring it back to what you're saying, everybody has all these different aspirations outside of the horse world, and it's pretty cool to see and hear.
Well, good for you. And thank you so much for joining us this evening. It's always fun to talk to you. I can't wait to see you guys in the competition arena this year. You and Captain Brownie making big strides, but best of luck in school for the rest of the time.
Yes, good job, Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Welcome to Horse Insurance 101 by Fry's Equine Insurance at friesequineinsurance.com.
Well, Glenn here, founder of the Horse Radio Network and host of Horses in the Morning. One of the most requested segments we've gotten from listeners is about insurance for your horse and for your farm. Susan is here from Fry's Insurance and has been helping us with the 5-part series on insurance, helping us understand what it is we're buying and what we need. If you missed the last 4 months, we discussed horse mortality, we discussed horse health insurance, liability and farm insurance, how to file a claim, and today we're going to do the last part, and that's talking about how to apply for an insurance and what you're going to need. If you missed any of the past segments, you can go to horseradionetwork.com/insurance and take a listen. Or if you get down the line and you go, I know she talked about that, but I forget, the easiest way is just go to horseradionetwork.com/insurance. The players are there for all the different segments, and they're all labeled, so it'll be easy to find and re-listen to what you need at that time. Well, let's start with how to apply for insurance on your horse.
Very good, Glenn. So if you own a horse, you would definitely benefit from having insurance on your horse. So in order to apply, we typically need an application, a statement of health form, which is a form that the owner fills out, and in some cases, justification of the value if you are asking for more than the purchase price or it's been a while since you purchased your horse. So for newly purchased horses, we may need to get a pre-purchase exam. If there wasn't one completed, then definitely a vet certificate. And vet certificates are sometimes needed for horses valued over, say, 100,000, or they may be over the age of 15. So all companies differ a little bit. A lot of times we'll also need what's called a loss run or a statement of claim so that we can see the health history of your horse. So when you request a quote, we will then provide the best quotes for your horse's value and the coverages you want. So to get a quote, all we need is the breed, use, age, and value of your horse. And then we can put together a quote based on that information and based on the coverages that you want. So each company offers medical coverage as an add-on to the mortality policy, but those terms can vary. So in our quotes, we're going to include what the different companies are quoting for mortality, and then we'll provide a comparison of the medical options, and then you can decide which company best meets your needs. And then once we receive your completed application, the health forms, and payment in some cases, then we will submit these to the company for approval and we can get your horse insured. Mortality policies with the medical coverage are 1-year policies, so they do have to be re-upped every year.
Well, now let's talk about applying for liability insurance.
Very good. So this can vary depending on the coverage that you need. So if you are looking for private horse owners liability policy, so again, you can go back and listen to our previous recordings and hear the difference between these coverages. But for a private horse owners policy, this is for the horse owner that doesn't run an equine business. So we can give you a quote based on the state that you live in and the number of horses you own. And then to start coverage, it's as simple as filling out a short application and submitting it for coverage. For a commercial equine liability policy, now this would be for instructors or trainers or for an event or show, we need a completed application that gives us a picture of what you're doing with your equine business. And to get coverage started, we get the quote. And then once you've accepted it, we need your application signed along with sample copies of release forms, training contracts, boarding agreements that you're using within your business. The company will review these and if necessary, make some recommendations so that they can make sure that you have the proper forms for your business.
All right, very good. And then finally, how to apply for farm insurance.
In order to get a quote for your farm insurance, we start with our short form questionnaire, which gives us the basic information we need to get quotes from different companies. For farm policies, it also helps to have pictures showing the house and the buildings. Depending on the condition and the age of the buildings, we want to make sure we can get the best rating for you up front. A lot of times we'll go out to the internet to search for the pictures, maybe on your website or your Facebook page. We also look at the MLS recordings to see what your place looks like, and that helps us to set up the best replacement cost value. Once you've accepted a quote and we've agreed on these values, we then will complete the company-specific application for you and send it to you for review. Some of the other things that we'll need, like with the liability, we'll need sample copies of any release forms or boarding contracts that you're using for your equine business. It's important that you think through your business ahead of time, that you talk with an attorney that can help you get the proper contracts together, because you want to be protected not only with your insurance policy, but then with the legal contracts that you'll need for your boarding or your lesson program. And we're happy to help you with those when we can.
Well, Susan, thank you so much for putting this series together. If you're interested in getting a quote for your horse, farm, or liability, give Susan a call. And the phone number is 614-875-3711, or send an email from their website. It's friesequineinsurance.com. The website, again, is friesequineinsurance.com. And if you missed any of these segments that we have done, you can go to horseradionetwork.com/insurance, and all the players are there. You can go back and take a listen. But we really do appreciate you taking the time to put all this together, and I hope everybody has learned a little something and will be a little safer in the future, knowing exactly what they need for their horses and their barn. We really do appreciate it, Susan.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to reach out to your listeners.
Well, tonight I am thrilled to have back one of my dearest friends in the world, Jody Kelly Baxley. Welcome back to the show, Jody. We haven't checked in a while.
It's been a minute. Thank you so much for having me.
I know it's been a minute, and it's been such an exciting fall for you and Baby G. So we wanted to check in and see how you're doing. Plus, I get to see you this week in Wellington as you're showing in the CDI. So kind of give us a rundown. Yeah. What have you been up to, my friend?
So Grayton finally made our way to the Grand Prix. We spent last year just getting comfortable in it. And in December, we put our big toe in the CDI ring finally. So we are back in the CDIs for the Grand Prix, doing the big boy stuff. So I'm so happy, and we're still working out the kinks. This is still just barely. He hasn't even quite completed his first year of Grand Prix yet. So we learn something new every single time we go down center line. But don't we all? And we're just so excited to be back finally here. Now we have the rest of, I keep telling him, we have the rest of our lives to perfect it. There's nothing more to learn. We just have to keep making it better now. I keep trying to remind him of that.
I love it. Jody, you have been on our show so much, but kind of remind everybody, tell us, we've been part of Baby G's, oh my goodness, I think many years, but tell us about Baby G. Tell me his whole story, just for anybody that's new here.
Okay, so his name is actually Grayton Beach. I got him as a 3-year-old. My trainer in Holland, Twan Hoof, had been just looking, and I had been looking for a couple of years for the next one that we hoped would go somewhere. And I buy all my horses as babies, or if broke, then just barely broke. I like the process. I like the whole journey. So he was just under saddle when Twan called me, and he said, "I found your horse." And I said, okay. And so I flew over to try him. I was in the air actually longer than I was on the ground in Holland when I went to try him. Like, it was the fastest whirlwind trip ever. But I sat on him one night late. I sat on him the next morning early, back on the airplane, and it was a done deal. And when I got him, he had long legs, and I'm tall, so I needed a decent sized horse. And the first year I had him, he wore a size 76 blanket. And then he just kept growing. Yeah. And he now wears an 86 blanket. He's over 18 hands. Wow. And he's just a tank. Yeah. And, but he doesn't ride. Like, I don't feel like he's huge. But he definitely is. And I only feel like he's huge as we've been working our way up the levels, and trying to fit all of those things in a 20x60 has been challenging. My last Grand Prix horse was this very nice little compact sports car, basically, and just played with the tricks. And then Grayton is like this huge, he's like trying to fit a Suburban around, maybe a Cadillac. We'll go with a Cadillac. Yeah, Cadillac. Around the ring. Baby. So, but it's just been so much trying to fit it all into the ring with his giant size. And I've just taken my time with him. He's always been a horse that I had to be very, very delicate with as we went up a level, and just sort of baby him, which is why he's still Baby D. He'll always be a little bit of a baby. He will always be Baby G. Yeah. And, I have to baby him until he understands. And when he understands, like, it's something that I feel it in him, and it clicks, and he goes, okay, I've got this. And then I can put my foot on the gas a little bit. And then we start a new level, and he has to kind of tiptoe and work his way through it and just make sure he can handle it. And then it's such a clear and obvious I've got this moment, then I can put my foot on the gas, and then up we go a level again. And we definitely tiptoed through the Grand Prix a lot in the beginning, and earlier this season a little bit. And it was actually at regional. In October, we turned down center line, and it was such a clear and obvious. I actually get goosebumps. Feel it talking about it right now. Like, it's such a clear and obvious. He turned down center line, and he took me, and he was like, "Okay, I've got it." And it's not that we're perfect every time, but it's just a difference in his confidence. It's a difference in the way I can ask for things, and the way that I say, "Okay, let's give this a little bit more of a shot," versus helping him pick his way through it. And so as soon as he did that, I was like, "Okay, we can ask for more now." And now I have to actually ask for it, and then he has to figure out what I'm asking for. But he's at least in the mental place now where he's got I've got this, so it's a very, very cool place to be. And that's why I keep reassuring him, okay, there's not going to be another level, another layer to this. This is it. Now we just have to keep making it stronger and better and more confident. So it's
very cool.
It's been worth the time though. Because he's so big. I just had to wait. And a lot of this, I had several people last year that was like, "It's not enough. Massage isn't enough. This isn't enough. This isn't enough." And I'm like, I can't yet. I can't ask for more yet. And people see this big, massive horse that like should go around with his knees to his eyeballs. And it's like, not yet, not yet, not yet. Okay, now. And we're just now in the okay now. So.
I saw you guys. I was at the World Equestrian Center in December for your show when you guys did your maiden voyage in the three-star tour. Yeah. So I was like, no, I've seen this one already, but you guys were awesome in the small tour. But it's been like 2 years, right, since you guys were in the CDI ring?
Oh, you saw him in the small tour. Yes, it's been yes, 2 years, every bit of 2 years. It was 2001 that he did the small tour for the CDI small tour.
You guys did awesome in small tour. You guys were in you guys were in the 70s.
They nailed it.
Like this is one to watch.
Yes, he had a really, really great small tour season. It was actually interesting. I landed myself on the developing team because of that season, but not fully intentionally, just because I knew I was still so far from the Grand Prix. I just knew, like, I go back to my other horse, my last Grand Prix horse. He did the small tour 1 year, and by the next season, he was ready to do the Grand Prix. He's like, I got it. He was little, he was compact, and he could just pop it all out. And I knew that Grayton and I were still a long way from the Grand Prix. And I told Charlotte. Charlotte had asked me if I was going to apply, and I was like, yes, but not yet. Like, we're so far from the Grand Prix. I'm not ready to have those markers. Part of being on the developing team is they want to know what your goals are and where you're going to be at whatever X time. And I just wasn't quite ready to have those type of markers put on us yet, because I knew it was so far away. We were still flying around the small tour, hoping and praying we'd get our changes. Well, we still hope and pray we get our changes, even in the Grand Prix. But it just was such a far reach. And so Charlotte was like, okay, I understand. And then because of the CDI, that whole small tour year, he got an automatic invitation. And I was like, oh no, I don't want to do this. And so I had a long conversation with Charlotte about it again. And she was so wonderful and so understanding about, I said, it's going to take me time. Like, we're not, and I'm okay with you guys taking my invitation away and letting me reapply when I really feel like he's closer to the Grand Prix. And she's like, no, we want to stay with him and we want to stay in touch. And she said, we won't put the pressure on you. And they've been, I can't praise Charlotte enough for how much they didn't put the pressure on me to be at a certain place at a certain time. They knew, they were in the loop with where our training was going and what we were working on. And here we are. We finally made it. And so it just, so cool. It just took us time.
Charlotte is such a great person and such a great advocate for the riders and their horses.
Yes, and everything.
Yes, yeah, and it's one of these things. I'm excited for her that she'll get to refocus her passion, and Charlotte Bradall is just a tremendous force for the United States, and we're grateful for her to be in that development coach role for the time that we've had her. And it's so great that you got to work with her.
Great. Yes, I appreciate everything from her. And she was great. My regular trainer here in the States is Ann Gribbons. And she was so wonderful working with Ann and staying in communication with everybody, but not ever overstepping her boundaries, but certainly offering advice and support anytime she could. And communicating with everybody. I can't say enough good things about her and how she handled that. And especially Grayton, who wasn't, we didn't show from that CDI spring until a year. It was almost a year and a half that we just sat tight and waited. It was closer to a year, I guess. But yeah, we waited a long time. Once they're at that point, you think they're going to like stay in the show ring. And I was like, we got ways to go here. And so she was great about letting us just do our thing. And she stayed in touch with Anne and just waited.
That's awesome. What was it like for you? You were in very good company at the CDI in Ocala. That was a huge show. There was lots of entries. They had a World Cup qualifier and they had the 3-star going on. But you had lots of the team riders from the Pan Ams that were there. Jan Ebeling was in the class. Ellis Gunderson was riding for the U.S. for the first time. Pablo Gomez Molina was there. I mean, this was not
Honestly,
an easy trip up Centerline.
It was bigger than I anticipated, to be completely honest. I was thinking, okay, I'm going to do like the little WEC CDI to like get our and then I'll go to Global in January. And then I saw the starting list and I was like, well, that backfired on me.
Okay.
And you know what? So I thought, I have to do what's best for him, and again, it was his first CDI and it was his first time in the stadium. And even though he was feeling very confident in the national ring, there's a whole different feeling to the CDI ring and that big stadium, especially. And he's not usually one to care about his environment. Like he's not spooky. He's not overfaced by stuff like that. But I didn't want to get in there and go, okay, it's a CDI and like, punch down and be like, we're doing this. Cause I didn't want him to think, what are we doing? So I took the first day actually very, very carefully and we tiptoed our way through it. And he stayed right up there. We were just out of the ribbons, but he was very competitive. He got a very decent score for his first time for as carefully as I rode the test. And I knew I carefully rode the test. And then I had a couple expensive mistakes. Like we did 17 ones and like random things like that.
The counting is so hard.
But after a whole season of not getting our ones, having too many, I'm still like, ooh, we did too many.
You also have to realize in your third FEI mount that you had in CDI competition, you hit personal bests on both of your tests, and without the costly mistakes, you would have been at the top of the class. On both of those.
Well, and that's was really exciting. So like the next day after like we did that and tiptoed and he felt so confident in the ring, I was like, okay, we're gonna ask a little bit more. And it was only the second time we had done the special ever.
Oh my God.
We tried it one time this fall, and then I was supposed to do it again in November, and then my mom ended up needing to have a knee replacement, so I didn't go to that show. So I was like, yeah, should I just wing it with the special? And we did. And we went up a full percentage point from the day before and still had a couple mistakes. So I feel good about where we're going into it this season. I'm not going to say we're going to go in and blow it out of the park this week, but like as a whole for the season, I feel like we're in a really good place to be kind of creeping on up there.
Well, I'm going to be always your fangirl. So I'm going to be there with my very quiet golf pom-poms.
I appreciate
and it'll be so fun. It's going to be great. So Jody, one of our listeners had talked, I'm going to change gears a little bit because we had a listener write in and she was like, tell me how you kind of do Wellington. So I thought we would just kind of talk a little bit about, you and I have been coming to Wellington. I don't even know how long. I mean, decades together, and we always have dinner and we always try to keep it real and have just girls' night and watch movies and hang out and chat, and it's so much fun. But one of the things that I want to know, like, you have gone to do Ocala now, so you're up in Ocala. You're here this week, so I get to see you, which I love. But kind of talk about a little bit the difference of sort of Wellington and Ocala. Maybe we should talk a little bit about Ocala this year.
Okay. So I kind of have to go back to last year. Last year was my litmus test. Last year I actually did. So I've been coming to Wellington for, I hate to say it, but it has been 20 years now that we've been going together. So
probably,
and so I live in the Panhandle of Florida. So Ocala is exactly halfway between Wellington and home for me. So the difference in the 5-hour drive and 10 and a half pushing 11 is significant. And then and I always was a little whiny about like, I wish we had more to do in Ocala. And then WEC popped up. And so it took them a little while to get it off the ground. But I have said from day one, as soon as WEC gives us a season that makes sense for me to be in Ocala, I'll be the first one to sign up for it. And and so then last year they had a couple of shows, but not really enough to justify. And they didn't have any CDIs during the season. They were before, and they were like in December, and then didn't start again until April. And so I did the month of January in Ocala, and then I did the next month, like from mid-February to mid-March here in Wellington. And it's just a slower pace in Ocala. You know, I love Wellington. Wellington will always have a special place in my heart. If you want to see a tack shop on every single corner and a great restaurant on every other corner and a barn every time you drive a half a mile, then Wellington's the place to be. And you want to have something to do every single
night.
Something to
By
do.
the way, I have been bumped from Jody's social calendar twice this week, which is fine. I want to be on it, so I don't care. It's okay. It's true.
You're not
every
bumped,
night.
You're just getting rearranged.
I'm going to rearrange. It's totally fine. I don't care.
I'm trying to get a full season of socializing in 10 days. And it's very difficult because my friends are here. I've been coming here for 20 years.
Yes.
So all of my friends are here. I have a great group of friends. I love coming down here. I love the people down here. I love so many things about it. But then when I was in Ocala last year, first of all, I have a client that owns a farm in Ocala that is a beautiful farm. It's 40 acres, which that's unheard of down here. You know, there's just space. The biggest way I can describe Ocala is space. There's space and there's a calm to it, you know? And I looked out of my camper window last year. I had 6 horses with me down there last year, and all 6 of them could be turned out. My horses go out. They stay out all day. And in Ocala, they can. They were all out at the same time. And I looked out, and every single one of them was laying down sound asleep in their paddock at the same time. Like, that's peace. That is peace, and that is happy horses to be laying down out in their paddocks like that. And that was the moment that I was like, this is where I need to be now. And it's less for me about the socializing and the activities and the entertainment at this point in my life, and more about the training and the peacefulness and the calm for the horses to really be able to thrive as best they can. Not that it's not always about the horse care, but for me, and it's, I think, a little bit for me too, the mental calm and focus in the training, and not quite as much of the go here and go there and do this.
Yes.
You know, it's a lot.
Well, and it is a lot. But let's talk about a little bit about Wellington, because I think, I'm here, and, one of the things that I love about Wellington, and we were talking a little bit about it, was we got to go together on Sunday. There's a teacher for trainers given by Dressage for Kids, and Dressage for Kids. It's free training. So there is actually a lot of free opportunities in Wellington. And and then the shop talks, I love those.
Yes,
the
shop talks
are awesome.
So chic. I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's definitely the difference. And Ocala's getting a little, like, they're doing more clinics, and they're trying to do a few little things, but it doesn't. I mean, it pales compared to Wellington. That truly, if you want to learn something, you come to Wellington. You learn it, from everybody, everywhere, and the people. You'll never find a more condensed group of people at the highest level, of dressage or jumpers, whatever it is you're looking for, of horse care in general. We come down here, and I've got my farrier, I have my saddle fitter, I have this, that, and that. I have a friend that helps me with that. It's just, you make a phone call and it's right there and everybody's available. And it's truly, there's no place on earth like Wellington. And that's also a perk of me being in Ocala, is that I can't. I'm only a short drive down here, so I'll be back for a couple. I have a developing training session that I'll be back for, and then I have one more show in March that I'll be able to come back for, because it is definitely the place to be for, as far as Disney World. I mean, they say it's like Disney World for horse people, and it truly is. But also Disney World can be exhausting. You know what I mean?
It is exhausting.
To Ocala, so it's that same idea.
That's why I miss Jody here. Like, I miss girls' night. I miss just watching movies, and like, let's just sit on the couch and watch movies.
Yeah, exactly.
You need friends like that here, and we have been those friends for many years. Yeah. that's kind of the pluses and minuses. Now, Noah, we've taken the conversation. Jump in, my friend.
Well, I mean, I'm over here on the West Coast right now, but I'm flying to Florida tomorrow morning, so I will be there soon enough. But I was told, it was just resonating with me. The like, there's this little industry, and it's not even little, but there's this whole enclave of talent and education and opportunity that's all there in Wellington, and it's so awesome to go into it every year, and you just feel like you're immersed. And you were talking about Shop Talk, and I know my friends the Bills, Bill McMullen and Bill Warren, they are commonly there as panelists in Shop Talk. Talk a little bit about what that's like and what it's like to have access to the FEI level judges. You see those guys everywhere. What's it like being in it?
I think you realize that. I think my biggest realization from coming to especially for coming for 20 years, is that you realize that they're normal people, which I think sounds a little bit crazy, but that they are approachable. I know that I'm so much less terrified of judges from coming here and seeing them in the grocery store and seeing them, you know what I mean? Like when you realize, it's like seeing your school teacher out of school sometimes, and you're like, whoa. But then when you get used to it,
oh my God, yes, totally relatable.
Yes. Yeah. Then you're like, okay, it just is a way of life. It becomes less of a like, oh, we're going for the weekend and there's those scary people sitting in that box and, and you realize
I eat food, they eat food.
Yeah. I think I realized the most is that you realize that the judges are actually rooting for you. The judges truly want you to do well. They truly want the horses to be happy and do well. They're not those scary people out there maybe some of them, but generally speaking, they're not the ones that are just waiting for you to make a mistake and like, oh, I got it. You know what I mean? Like you learn that they truly are here also because they love horses. They're all here. They're here for the same reason as us. And genuinely want it all to go well to the best to anybody's ability,
Well, and I think that's kind of where we're talking. I mean, I think Wellington gets the rap of, one of my favorite things is to go to Friday Night Lights, and I don't sit in the VIP tent. There's a huge VIP tent, and I love if anybody gets to get in there. And if you ever want to invite me, I'm here. But really, you will we will go sit in the stands, and we'll take a bottle of wine and just sit with friends and judges. I mean, everybody who in the tent is sitting on those bleachers, and you never know who you're going to do that. It's pretty cool to be able to do that. And so Noah, I think one of the amazing things about having you on the show is you're telling us about California. I don't know much about the California CDIs and what's going on out there. But I think the access to great riders and horses, it's there. It really is there. And if you can't go, you can watch this stuff online, which is also fantastic.
Yeah,
so
it's amazing. Everything's live streamed now. That's incredible.
It's incredible. So we can all do that, and I'll get to see, like when you go back to Ocala, you can take a look at that. So I just think it's a really cool thing. And so that listener who wrote in, it is great. And feel free, Jody, myself, Noah, we're down here and we want to share, that teacher for trainers. I actually was like, Jody, are you going to this? Like, let's go. This is a phenomenal event.
I didn't know what it was.
You didn't know what's going on. And I
hadn't heard of it. It was something that I hadn't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, and it was a whole night of literally Allie Brock talking about being a coach, and it was all coaches and how we can do our job better. And you can give a donation to Dressage for Kids, or it's not required. So to be able to go and work on that kind of stuff is phenomenal. So I just think there's a great opportunity, and I do think Ocala is bringing in another great opportunity.
Yeah, they're working on it. They definitely are working on it. Janet Ford does clinics up there, and I went to a couple things last year that they had that they're working on it. They're definitely working on it. But, I think it's never going to be the same, and it doesn't need to be the same. Like there only ever needs to be one Wellington. That's enough.
Yeah, that's enough.
It's nice to have it's nice to have options and have something different, and then the WEC facility is magnificent and wonderful and again different. I can't even say it's better or worse. It's just that it's nice to have things that are different. And, and for us, for this season, who knows? I might be back here for a season at some point. I'm not saying that I've packed my bags and moved to Ocala, but I'm definitely going to try Ocala for a while, and until it makes sense for me to be back in Wellington more permanently.
Back in Wellington, so. Makes sense.
So we talked about Friday Night Lights, and our first show of the season is coming up this weekend. So tell us, when will we see you guys at Friday Night Lights under the big time in the global arena?
We are working on it.
I got
We
chills.
are trying to sort our way through that. I have my floor plan done that I'm working with Marlene.
Yeah.
It's a very, very baby floor plan for him to start with right now. Again, it's that jamming him into a 20 by 60 and not blowing his mind. And oh, by the way, now we've changed another test. So it's a very, very green Grand Prix horse floor plan, and we're working on the music. And I hope to. I'm going to test it at a couple of the WEC national shows before I blast out into a CDI.
Love it.
Do we get to have any little hints about what your music might be?
No, he's poking you.
Not yet.
Oh, come on. At least give us a theme. We hear Evie Strasser, she's riding her Aladdin music,
Nope, it's old music.
Oh, I love it. And Marlene Whitaker is my favorite.
So Anne, I'm not going to tell you what my coach Anne said exactly, but she said, just make sure it's music that appeals to judges that have enough experience to be judging at that level.
That's so diplomatic. I love it.
Those are very.
I'm trying to appeal to those judges.
Those are very sage words from Anne Gribbins.
Right, exactly. She's like, none of this crazy new stuff. So, I hope that they all approve.
Yes, I love it. Well, Jody, you have been so much fun as always. Thanks for coming back on and checking in with us. It's been way too long, my friend.
Absolutely.
So if listeners want to find you online, hear more about Baby G and all the horses you're developing, how do they do that?
JodyKellyDressage.com. And I'm on Facebook too, Jody Kelly or Jody Kelly Dressage. We have 2 Facebook pages also.
Fantastic. Well, I love it. Well, can't wait to cheer you on this week, my friend, and hear all about what's happening in Ocala.
Thank you so much.
If you have 1 or 2 horses, or you have 20, 30 or more, fly predators will make the difference between heavy infested fly problem or a no-fly zone. Balding lab fly predators, catching these flies before they become an issue.
Well, my friends, we are in for another treat, as tonight we get to hear from one of our coming up movers and shakers in the dressage industry. Join me in welcoming Cameron Wyman to the Dressage Radio Show. Hi, Cameron.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
We are so excited to chat with you tonight. We know that you have been a driving force for the HITS organization, and you're also an avid competitor in dressage world. For our listeners who don't know you yet, tell us a little bit about your background with riding and who you're working for these days.
Yeah, so I have been riding dressage for as long as I can remember, honestly. And I started out on the West Coast, and I rode out there, and I actually did NAYC a few times, as a junior rider, and just did as much competing as I could. And then I went off to school and continued to compete as well as I could while still being a good student. And after I graduated, thank you. I did my best. And then after I graduated, I moved out to the state of New York, actually, Hudson Valley area. My trainer that I met in college, she moved out there. Her name's Allison Matthey. And I went out there to kind of spend a few months, go to the Festival of Champions, and I ended up loving it and hanging around. I've been there for almost 2 years now. And in that time, I started working for HITS. And they were looking for someone to help them guide their, newer dressage business that they were starting up. They were starting to buy some of the show dates and, get more into that business. So they needed somebody that kind of, knew that industry better. And I was not at all licensed to be a manager, but because I knew the shows, from a competitor side, they were good opportunity for me, good opportunity for them. So I started kind of being their, I like to call myself their dressage queen. So I've been doing that.
How apropos.
I know.
Love it.
I get,
Love it.
thank you. There's so many times where people have said that, and I'm like, how can you say that about me? And then I'm like, no, okay, it's true.
It's a
am.
compliment.
I'm the queen
it.
too. I like being the queen. I'm totally fine with it. I wear the crown.
But
Yeah.
Cameron, you stepped into very big shoes. So for those of you that don't know, Cameron is the director of dressage programs for HITS nationwide. How many venues does HITS now occupy, or is it managing now?
So HITS has quite a few, but the ones that we're running dressage at currently is the Saugerties in the New York location. We have our Chicago location. And then we are starting up in February, Del Mar Dressage out in California. So I'm very excited about that.
It is so exciting to see dressage come back to the Del Mar Horse Park, and that's been rebranded as the HITS Del Mar venue. And you guys have a very ambitious schedule of events coming up that starts next month. Tell us about the events and the investment that HITS has made into bringing that venue back to life.
Yeah. So we are starting up February 1st is actually Del Mar Dressage opener, and it is a 3-star. I'm very excited about, like hopping right into things and right from the start, we're starting out with a CDI. So I'm very excited. I know all the competitors are very excited. You can look forward to like amazing arenas. They put ebb and flow in all the arenas, and Noah, I know you know that system well.
Mm-hmm.
So we can handle
tremendous.
like all the rain. I know it's a huge deal. And we have a great food and catering service. And we have Kim Keenan-Stortle, who's going to be our manager out there, because I'm still not licensed actually to do that. So I'm basically co-managing or assisting her. And she's amazing. So I'm just so excited for us to get underway there, and it'll be great.
So Cameron, tell me, you're in Ocala, right, for the winter. What are you doing down there?
Yeah, so I'm down here right now actually to help with some of their hunter jumper shows, because we are not running dressage at Ocala right now, but maybe that's something that we could look forward to in the future. And so right now I'm wanting to go hang out in some nice weather. I mean, I know we actually had a tornado hit down here today, so I didn't necessarily.
Not good weather there today. Not good. It was windy in Wellington, but it was really bad up north. So everybody that's up north, we're thinking about you.
Yeah, Ocala was okay. We got like torrential rain. Some areas got really bad rain, and there was some pretty strong winds. But I know the HITS facility was okay, and I know like where I'm currently at is, everyone's safe. But I basically was just hoping to escape, the snow in New York and have a little time, with the hunter jumper shows, and also explore any of the dressage opportunities down here, because I would love for us to get some dressage out in Ocala too at some point in the future.
It's so exciting. You're just in all corners of the country, but I think really going back to Del Mar and what you guys have on the calendar, there are 4 dressage dates that HITS Del Mar is hosting, beginning in February, and the last event will culminate for dressage with the 75th annual Del Mar National Horse Show. Cameron, what's that like, taking on this legacy event that's been going on in Del Mar? It's an institution.
Yeah, it really is. And, we're doing our best to like commemorate, all of like, the past shows that have gone on, and to just hold as many of the traditions and the feel that, Del Mar National has had in the past, because it's the 75th anniversary, but it hasn't run since 2019, I think was the last year, if I'm remembering correctly. And I actually showed, I actually showed as a junior, because I was in school back then. I actually showed as a junior rider during that time at Del Mar National, like obviously not knowing that, one day I'd be returning to help, manage that show, and that, the 75th anniversary would happen this coming year. So I'm so excited for that. And it's actually going to be a 4-star. Hopefully people are aware of that, but it's the first 4-star on the West Coast, if I'm not mistaken. So it's a big deal. We're very excited, and we're going to make sure it's like absolutely spectacular and that everyone has a great time.
Yeah.
It is for sure the first 4-star on the West Coast.
So cool.
And that is monumental for the West Coast people and, for our country really to have 4 and 5-star events, especially as we're looking towards the Paris Olympics. And, our teams are already qualified, but those 4 and 5-star events are really taking it up a big notch. And that attracts bigger talent and higher caliber judges and really ups the ante as far as the competition goes. And I think that's a big deal for our country and for HITS itself to take that on in their first year running shows at Del Mar. Bravo and bravo
Yes.
to the entire HITS team. Thank you guys for taking the big step on that one. So, Cameron, you've done something that I don't think a lot of other people have done before. And that happened last year in August, where we had the festival champions at HITS Lamplight, the venue in Chicago, where you were also a competitor. How does that work?
Well, it's funny that you say that because we saw each other in Traverse first, right? Before I got to Lamplight, Noah. And you're like, how are you doing all this? How are you helping manage and still riding, training?
She's Superwoman.
And
Yes.
and showing. And I looked at him and I was like, I'm not handling all of it. Like it's honestly, it went great. I had an amazing summer, but it was so much to try to handle. And, I just did as much prep work for the shows as I possibly could. And then once the shows came time to running, the managers, like we have, Monica for a festival, they take over and they do all the work, once the show starts. And I just kind of had to step back. And I told everyone, I said, look, like I have been working for this show as a competitor for like years in the making. So I need to like be on my A game when the show happens. I'm like, if I have a ride that day, like you don't know who I am until after my ride's over. And then like, I'm all yours. When I get done with my ride, like I'm all yours. I'm a HITS employee again. But right now I'm like a competitor and I just have to kind of draw that line and so that I'm present, for my horse. Otherwise it's not fair to either of us, to get out in the ring and, for me to be all up in my head about, work and then the anxiety and the nerves of being in that type of arena. It's a lot to handle. So, just did
Cameron,
my best
I love your
to try
story.
to balance it all.
I love your story because, I teach college and I teach at equine studies at UK, University of Kentucky. And I tell my students, you can do it. And it is hard, but you can do it. And I'm going to literally play your interview for them because I think it's so great to hear how you are working in the equine industry. You have your horse. And can you tell us, what was it like to be in the inaugural U25 at NAYC? What was that like?
That was such an incredible experience. I've been working for, riding at the U25 test for a while. And it was so awesome that it got added back to NAYC. I was so excited to do that. And there's so much camaraderie between the U25 riders. It was like the most amazing experience ever. Like, there was 2 teams for the US riders. And then there was a team that had, I think, the Canadian riders and possibly the one rider from Mexico on it. But like, you didn't really even know, like, I didn't even know who was on my team and who wasn't. It was just so much fun. Everyone supported each other, like, fully. It was such a blast. And it was great to go out there and kind of like, show everyone else, like, what they are ultimately working towards. Because at that level, you don't ever ride as a team unless you're in the Olympics, which, is a pipe dream for like everyone that's at that level. But, you don't see that dream happen until much later in life, probably not in your 20s.
Yeah.
Cameron, you bring a very unique perspective to the community. And I think that's something that most people don't really think about being able to do at the same time, which is being a high performance competitor. I mean, you're riding U25, which is Grand Prix, on your own horse that you're putting your own time and effort into training and maintaining. But you're also balancing, running and organizing and planning all the logistics of these major international events now. And I just think that it's you are a tremendous asset to the community because you have that perspective of what you want as a high performance competitor, what you want to see a venue do, and the amenities and all the preparations, all the things that you see as a competitor. You now get to help bring those things to life and make sure that you deliver. What are some of the big focus points for you in your role on the experience side of things, on what you guys want competitors to experience when they come to a HITS show?
I just want everyone to have as smooth of a show as possible. I love when I come in and I have great stabling. I mean, I have a stallion, so I come in and I see safe, permanent stabling, and I'm like, oh yes, amazing. And I love that at any venue.
Yes.
Yeah, I know, right?
Huge.
It makes such a big difference. It seems like, I don't know, okay, it's not a big competitors party, but that's such an important thing for me. And amazing footing is such an important thing for me.
Mm-hmm.
And friendly employees, friendly workers, everybody, I just want to be able to walk up to anybody. And, there's such a stigma of horse show offices, having kind of grumpy employees or secretaries or whatever. It's kind of something a little bit of the past. But, I used to be worried, walking into a horse show office, when I was younger, oh, who am I going to see today, or who's going to be cranky at me because I forgot to submit, whatever paperwork.
Yeah.
And, that's what I used to think about. And that's something that a lot of people are still worried about. And I just want to help make everyone's experience a happy place. That's what people are coming, and that's what people are paying good money for, is to come and, have fun. And that's what I want the competitors to feel like. I want them to feel like they're walking in and able to talk to their friend when they come into the horse show office. And, the same thing for out on the grounds. I want, just the ring stewards, people that you communicate with that, some people take for granted, but they're such a major part of the show. I just want, all the communication to be top notch and friendly and good judges. And that's the most important things for me. And then the fun things the competitor parties, those will come, and those are, fun things to put on after you get all of the big solid things, in place. So that's the things that I think about most. Which maybe is
huge.
It's not it's the biggest thing,
huge.
But it's not what comes to mind. Maybe you're okay, I don't, you don't think about the horse show office when you just think about okay, going into the ring, but it's a big part of the show.
Absolutely. And as an organizer, you were going through that list, and I was thinking, okay, yep, all right. So it's fun to hear. It's fun to hear somebody else going through that, and we're so fortunate that you're on the younger spectrum of ages, and hopefully that means that you'll be in this for the long haul. And I had the opportunity in July last year to see the HITS Del Mar venue, and just to see how much energy and investment HITS has made in that venue, and really restoring it to be a beacon on the West Coast is really exciting. And I hope that our listeners, if you're a competitor and you're on the West Coast, please come and support the venue. Whether you come as a spectator or you come as a competitor, or you want to join on as a sponsor, there's so many ways that you can support the shows. It's incredibly important for our country to have a vibrant competition circuit on both sides of the country, and making sure that we have good opportunities for competitors on both sides. So it's really exciting to talk to you, Cameron, and I really hope that people will come and meet you and hear more about your journey. Cameron, before we go tonight, lots of our listeners will want to know how they can reach out to you if they want to get involved. What is the best way for them to reach you? Tell us maybe your socials and any other ways that they can get in touch.
Yeah, so I have a Facebook. You're more than welcome to friend me, Cameron Wyman. And you can email me at HITS Shows. It's just Cameron at hitsshows.com. And if you call the corporate office, I'm mostly there, except when I'll be in Del Mar and a little bit in Ocala. But yeah, you can definitely just call the HITS corporate line and you could reach me there. And I'm so happy to hear everyone's opinions and suggestions. And that's what I'm looking for. Like, I want to make this the best experience for everyone. And like I said, like, it would be amazing to get dressage in Ocala. So if people want to reach out with any ideas, we have other facilities in Vermont and Virginia. I would also love to get some dressage shows at. So if anyone has any ideas or wants to support, please feel free to reach out.
Cameron, right on the next turn of the calendar, I know that you guys just launched a new website for the new venue on the West Coast. How can people find more information on those upcoming shows?
Yeah, so we will be updating that hitsdelmar.com. That's our website for the West Coast facility. And, we are putting out the prize list on there. The programs will be up there, and everything from VIP to sponsorship and vendors. You're more than welcome to reach out from there. My email is probably all over the place.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Cameron Wyman, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Cameron. Amazing.
Looking forward to seeing you at all these big shows. And thanks for coming on the show tonight.
Thank you so much for having me. It was so nice to talk to you, Noah, and it was nice to meet you too, Reese.
Nice to meet you too, Cameron. Can't wait to see you. Well, as always, everyone, we love your email and Facebook shout outs. Keep them coming. Keep the questions coming. If we don't know the answer between Noah and I, we will find someone that does. We're good at that, aren't we, Noah?
Yeah, for sure.
We'd love to hear what your New Year's resolutions are. Like, we can read them out. Like, that's such a fun part. So we would love to do that. So keep them coming. You know how to find us that way.
And if your New Year's resolution is also being punctual, we want to know that too, because we can all do this together, you guys.
Yes. Let us know. We'll all try.
Well, Reese, those ladies were epic. We've got so many exciting things happening this month and this season. I can't wait for this upcoming Adequan USDF FEI level trainers conference that's happening this coming week with Sven Rotenberger and Sabine Schutt-Carey. This is a huge, huge deal. I just heard from USDF. There were over 300 people registered for this year's FEI level trainers conference. That's going to be at High Meadow Farm in Loxahatchee next week. There's lots of information about the event. It's not too late to sign up to join us at High Meadow Farm next week. Head over to the USDF website, usdf.org, and click on the Education tab, and you'll find all the details about the Adequan USDF FEI level trainers conference. We want to see you guys there.
Yes.
So
reach out
make
to
it
Noah
happen.
and I. Come see us. If you hear our voices and give us that turn, we'll know and we'll say hi. But seriously, we love hearing from everybody. We love hearing from trainers. And it really is. This is such a big week here in Wellington because we love having everyone comes down, and it's so much fun. But I will warn you, it is supposed to be cold. So do bring a warm jacket. Like, if you looked at the weather, next week is going to be in the 40s and it's quite chilly. It's always cold for the trainers conference every year. So I will bring a couple extra coolers with me. So I have them. So no problem. I got you guys. But anyway.
Bonus horsehair and dog hair.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Do you like golden retrievers? I got you. But
absolutely.
As always, you can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our page at horseradionetwork.com. Search Dressage Radio Show. Like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is Maple Crest Farm KY, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
And I finally got my act together. My website is devinwoodec.com. And you can follow me at Facebook at noah.ratner or email me at region6dir@usdf.org. We'd like to thank our friends and show sponsors, Kentucky Performance Products. If you'd like to support our show and the Horse Radio Network, you can do that through the Auditor program found at horseradionetwork.com.
Everybody, from the stable to the show ring, from the first half all to the last, make every day count. We can't wait to talk to you next time.